Happy Thursday, everyone. Today is Data Talk Thursdays with Dan. Welcome to Data Talk Thursdays with Dan. Today's topic is a different world. Now, today, what we'll be doing is sharing lots of information about how the old world is much different than today's world. So I'm going to back out of the main screen and show you all some information that's also represented here in this PDF. You also saw the video just now about the housing inventory. It was a little bit quick on the video, so this still shot right here shows a lot of what the video was communicating. Now, single-family housing units completed. In the last 13 years, we've been at a below average of new single-family homes constructed. Now, if we think about a different world, how is today's world different than the previous world? Now, in 1983, that's 2 years after I was born, housing was somewhat more available than it is today. And there are a few reasons why. Now, the first paragraph of this article from 1982, it reads, housing industry economists predict an upturn in construction of new homes in 1983, rising from this year's estimated 1.05 million starts to 1.36 million. This would still be substantially lower than 4 years ago when starts peaked at more than 4 million. Now, if we go back to the PDF about single family housing units completed, we'll look at 1983. That's represented right here, this bar that I have singled out. And then 3 or 4 years prior was the peak that was mentioned in that first paragraph. Now, looking ahead to now, 2010, 2015, 2020, those years have all been below the long-term average of housing units completed. So why such a drastic change in housing completed? Well, for one reason, inflation. I know during the pandemic, you all would certainly hear about the supply chain issues and lumber costs going through the roof in lots of states. Some of those states are still experiencing high cost for materials as well as supply chain issues. Now, the inflation today is as high as it's been in the last 40 years, which is causing lots of affordability issues, not just in housing, but in other areas. So, have you ever talked to someone and they say, back in my day, this is how things were? It happens very often. People think that just because it's old and how things have always been done, then that's how things always should be done. But unfortunately, things have changed. It's a different world. This article about inflation, it explains why today's inflation is much different than how it was in 1982. Also, some other issues. Most Americans can't really afford emergencies. Also, the cost of consumer products has increased. The average new car now costs more than $47,000. This businessinsider.com article highlights. So you want to buy a used car instead? That might not be the best route either. NBCnews.com mentions that some used vehicles now cost more than the original sticker price. Inflation has impacted lots of areas of industry and most certainly in housing as well. Again, 56% of Americans can't cover a $1,000 emergency expense with their savings. And then if you've been to the grocery store recently, this Yahoo Finance article discusses the increased grocery costs that you may be experiencing. And you'll certainly see the shelves have less product on them than usual. So, what does all this mean to you for housing and your hopes of becoming a homeowner? Now, again, if you've watched the intro segment, the video about the housing inventory, you know that housing, the inventory is very, very low. So you'll have to come with different strategies if you want to become a homeowner. Now, what is your strategy? Have you taken time to analyze your budget based on today's cost and not what you were paying for goods and services 5 years ago or even a few years ago? When you're grocery shopping, are you checking your receipts to see how much taxes you're paying for groceries now? How much taxes you're paying when it's time to renew your vehicle registration? All those costs begin to add up. And when you transition from being a renter to a homeowner, there's also additional new cost that you take on. All the maintenance for the home is yours. If that water heater goes out, that's yours to fix. If that roof floods or leaks from water, that's going to be yours to fix. I'm in the Midwest here. We get lots of ice and snow and some very frigid temperatures. If the AC in the summertime or your furnace in the wintertime goes out, how will you tackle that expense? It's definitely a different world now. And with the inventory being so low, you may need to buy a used or resale home and fix add that up to what you want it to be, rather than focusing on buying your dream home from the very start. Now, if you have questions about the housing market, if you have questions about how this inventory shortage is impacting you as a potential homeowner, give us a call. You all have a great day.